Commentary Sputnik Sweetheart by Haruki Murakami. Information, form and style of the book. Murakami's ninth long novel, and third romance novel follows Norwegian wood south of the border, west of the sun, originally published in 1999. Also, this novel is unusual romance novel describes today's persons has no existence or reality who can't love seriously and passionately. When the time this book published, 349 works of Murakami were romance, but he has not been wrote a romance long novel again for now. This novel is story about Sumire, and substantially main character in this novel is Sumire. The main description of the first half of this novel is describing Sumire by the viewpoint of the narrator, like Nick Carraway in The Great Gatsby by Scott Fitzgerald, and talks about Miu, of which the narrator heard by Sumire. Murakami lived in Greek in the late 80s. He described the days in his first travel literature Fardrums, and he arrived at Greek island and went around monasteries of the Greek Orthodox Church in rainy days, sunny days. Synopsis. Sumire is a close friend of mine. She dropped the university at her sophomore year to become a novelist, and she visited my apartment on weekends. She showed me her manuscripts. I love her, but she didn't have love feeling for me. At a time, she came across a merchant lady Miu. She became an assistant of Miu. Then Sumire couldn't write a novel. Miu and Sumire went to France and Italy on business. On their way home, they dropped in a Greek island as a vacation. At the Greek island, Sumire suddenly disappeared. I went to the Greek island requested by Miu, but we can't find Sumire. A day, I found 2 texts in a floppy written by Sumire. Plots. A. Sumire and narrator. B. Sumire and Miu. C. Narrator and Miu in a Greek island. And subplots are listed below. Characters. Narrator, a teacher of an elementary school in Kunitachi, Tokyo. He born in Sujinami, Tokyo, and raised in Tsudanuma, Chiba. He enjoyed read novels but studied history, because reading novels is his pure personal enjoyment. He loved Sumire, but she had no romantic feelings. Sumire, a friend of the narrator, 2 years younger than him, and the narrator was in love with Sumire. She was born in Chigasaki, Kanagawa. She was named by Mozart's song The Violet. After she graduated from a public high school in Kanagawa, she entered a little private college in Tokyo. The narrator was enrolled. She dropped out the university in the sophomore year to be a novelist. She wrote every night by a word processor, but couldn't complete a novel. She wasn't a beautiful but had a certain charm. She wore an oversized herringbone coat, a pair of rough work boots and a black plastic-framed Dizzy Gillespie glasses to become wild and cool like a character in Jack Kerouac's novel. She has no love desire for men. At a time, she came across a merchant lady Miu. She became an assistant of Miu. Then somehow Sumire couldn't write a novel. On Monday, Wednesday and Friday, Sumire worked at Miu's office and she was taken Italian private lessons twice a week. Miu, a Korean married, beautiful, extremely lovely and slim woman, 17 years older than Sumire, born and raised in Japan, graduated Catholic strict but progressive junior high and high school, then studied at a music academy in France. When she was 25 years old, she suffered from the tale of Miu and the Ferris wheel, and her hair became white and lost half of her. Then she stopped playing piano, and her father fell ill, so she returned to Japan and never touched keyboard again. After she abandoned studying and playing piano, she had taken over her father's trading company, but then her husband and brother did main business, and she became a merchant of wine or something and a coordinator of music as her own private business. She married at 29 years old. The private life is without making love and they see each other only at weekends. Their life basically went well. Girlfriend of the narrator, a lady friend of the narrator and a mother of narrator's pupil. They slept together about twice a month. His son Carrot was caught in the act of shoplifting, then the narrator and she never met again privately. Ferdinando, he was born from Barcelona, and moved for the small village in Switzerland to work in furniture design. A handsome, 36, Latin, tall man with a thoroughly nose and dark straight hair, had a love desire for Miu, and his presence made Miu anxious. Other characters listed below. Key elements. Sputnik. When they talked about Kerouac, Miu slipped her tongue to say Sputnik. Instead she wanted to say beatnik. The literary movement includes Kerouac, since Sputnik Sweetheart is private nickname for Miu and Sumire, and Sputnik in Russian means traveling companion. It may be the symbol of Sumire and Miu, beings were in the other side. Mozart's song The Violet. Sumire was named by the song. Sumire was shocked when she first read the lyric written by Goethe. The content is a little violet is trampled by a callous shred's daughter, and her name is the only tangible thing left by her mother. Chinese gates. An allegory or a metaphor signifies a living, breathing and real novel needs a king of baptism or sacrifice. Miu sacrificed every ounce of flesh, every drop of blood and everything for piano, but she couldn't become a pianist. Fiction equals transmission theory. All today's people are in fictional frameworks. Fiction is the method adjusts and fills in the gap between self and the real world in each of their own levels. But Sumire hadn't been suited the story or the world of Miu yet, because she couldn't use her transmission well. Also Sumire as a person can't suit and control well her real story. For Sumire, to write fiction, story or text is the method to fill the gap between her mind or existence and the real world, and is the meaning of life. But she can't use the method well though she seriously want to write a novel. Cat. On Chapter 8, there are 3 episodes about cats, and Miu told the narrator that they are just a lot of harmless memories, but now everything seems significant. It should be a metaphor of Sumire. For Miu, cat is companion animal of man, but sometimes, it harms man physically and mentally. Sumire's episode of A Pretty Little 6-month-old tortoise-shell cat resembles an episode in Murakami's essay Abandoning a Cat. Moonlight. Brilliant moonlight, pallid moonlight. On Murakami's works, moonlight reflects and reveals a shape of the truth, and moon is a symbol and an indication of the other side, and opens a door or a path to the other side. Something out of an existential play. I think this novel is something existentialist novel of persons have no existences and realities, describes the absurdity and the crossings of humane love. Thinking. Thinking Sumire mentioned is a kind of literal and philosophical thinking from zero. It is the pragmatic strategy keeps what we know and what don't know as they are, and it's a method for living and to existing in this world for Sumire. But she stopped writing and thinking when she had met with Miu. Did you ever see anyone shot by a gun with tout bleeding and blood must be shed? These phrases mean to confess love for Miu causes a risk, and if it would be rejected, Sumire must live in this real world or she must vanish from this world if her love is rejected by Miu. And true expression of art needs lively force, reality and sacrifice. Dreams. Dream. One of the important elements on this novel. The life in Tokyo of the narrator was ordinary and real. The vacation and its experiences in the Greek island of Sumire, Miu and the narrator were dreamy. Miu and Sumire were beings lived in a kind of dream, and our life can't be divided reality from dream by stories or a personal story. Riddles and questions. Why Sumire suddenly disappeared? Sumire and Miu were beings beyond this world. She lost anything by her mother's death in the childhood. Also Miu lost her existence by the tale of Miu in the Ferris wheel. And, for Sumire, Miu was the only person who shared with her loneliness and could keep alive her. Sumire wanted to have physical relation with Miu, but she rejected, so blood must be shed. Because Sumire's story was rejected, then Sumire extinguished herself. Sumire's last phone call in chapter 16 is a dream or an actual event, by the effect of Carrot's shoplifting in chapter 15 as a silly and stupid but real event in Tokyo. Readers can't comprehend the last phone call of Sumire is a real event or a dream. Comments and remarks. This novel is the story of Sumire, and the story of the relation and distance between the narrator and Sumire, Sumire and Miu, and the narrator and Miu. The story is description about Sumire by the narrator like Nick Carraway in The Great Gatsby, and Sumire narrated or told the story to the narrator. Sumire was an interface of the narrator, to see the world and to understand himself, and the narrator narrate the story is not a neutral and fair act. There's choices, selections and interpretations by the narrator. I think the narrator is the reader interprets the story in the concept of death of the author by Roland Barthes. I think this novel resembles Murakami's first romance Norwegian Wood very much. The relationship, the narrator Sumire Miu and Toru Watanabe Naoko Reiko is resemble. Also, positioning of characters, structure of story, last phone call, Reiko and Miu abandon playing piano, Naoko and Sumire are the beings' lost existences and emotionally unstable. They are resemble. I think Sputnik Sweetheart is the 90s variation of Norwegian Wood. That story is around 1969 to 1970, and the structure of many elements made the story and its content and meaning, then we have resemble feeling. But, the difference between Norwegian Wood and Sputnik Sweetheart is the former is tragic, humid and melancholic. Instead, the latter is light, dry and refreshing. Sumire wanted to write a novel and to be novelist, but she had no reality and existence, so by her fate she can't complete a novel and must disappear in her youth. Also Naoko had no existence and suffered mental illnesses, so she can't play music and must pass away in her youth. The Sputnik Sweetheart is the secret nickname of Miu named by Sumire, so Sputnik Sweetheart is Miu, and Sputnik is Sumire. Sumire and Miu are beings like a satellite or Sputnik, lost existence, reality and lively feeling. Their hearts were shunted by shell and went away from others by centrifugal force, so, Sumire and Miu can't express or perform true, moving and emotional art expressions.